But let's be honest, as soon as that cage door shuts, when does Justin Gaethje listen, man? He isn't one of those type of guys. He's just going to go, come on, the crowd's going wild. Let's have some fun and let's see what happens.
What's up, everybody? Laura Sanko, joined by BT Sports' own Adam Catterall. I'm so honored to have this man breaking this fight down with me. We're going to talk about the co-main event of UFC 286, Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje. That has car crash written all over it.
I think when you advertise this fight, whether it's on ESPN or it's on BT Sports here in the UK, all they need to do is say this will be violent, and it should come with an 18+ certificate. 100% it is going to deliver, because you've got two guys that are phenomenal strikers, but you've also got one guy who's a sensational wrestler that doesn't want to wrestle. So you kind of feel to yourself, there's only one place that this is going to play out. It's going to play out on the feet, and both of these guys absolutely love putting leather on their opponent. I can't wait to see it, and I genuinely don't think, Laura, I'm hopefully not giving it the kiss of death here. I just think it's going to be fantastic.
I don't see how it couldn't be. Truly, Justin Gaethje is one of those fighters, and Fiziev as well. They don't know how to have a fight that's not incredibly high action, entertaining, right in each other's faces. I think that this is going to be fascinating to see how it plays out, because, as you say, I think what you said earlier is perhaps the biggest question in this fight. Is Justin Gaethje ever going to try to wrestle? And if he ever did, this would probably be the fight in which to do it. He has a Division I high-level wrestling background, and rarely does he pull it out of his back pocket. And I always had wondered why. And it wasn't until recently that I saw, and this might have even been an old interview, but I saw an interview he gave where he said he doesn't do it much because the way that he wrestled, he doesn't know how to wrestle another way. And the way that he wrestled was, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall for every single second of the match. And he's always been a little bit concerned that if he starts wrestling in an MMA fight, that he's going to just completely deplete his gas tank. So I thought that was a really interesting insight. But I don't know, maybe that Trevor Whitman calming influence might, allow him to start pulling out that other tool that he has.
I honestly think if he doesn't wrestle in this fight, he'll get beat, because we're fighting a guy here in Rafael Fiziev. There'll be people tuning in to your show that we're doing right now that they know who Gaethje is. They know exactly what he brings, but they might not necessarily be too affair with Rafael Fiziev. We're talking about one of the best kickboxers in the UFC. Yes. He's absolutely sensational, this guy. He's striking, his timing, his mixing of shots, the way that he sets traps. He's top class. Now, that's not to say that Justin Gaethje can't beat him on the feet. He can, but he has to blend the styles. If he just stands there and has a fight with this fella, I think he could comfortably get outpointed. He might even get knocked out, because Fiziev is so accurate, so good. He's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant on the feet. From a Justin Gaethje point of view, you have to wrestle in this fight. If you don't wrestle in this fight, you could end up losing your stature within this division, because it feels like one of those fights where that new breed of lightweight that's coming through, and there could be a change in the guard. I don't want to say that because I love Justin Gaethje. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He provides so many highlights, hence the nickname. But I just feel that at some point in the not too distant future, there's going to be a change in the guard of the young bloods that are coming through in this division that maybe take over some of those more familiar names. And this fight kind of screams to me a little bit of that. But it comes down to Gaethje. It's all down on Justin Gaethje, how he approaches the fight. If he wants to stand and bang with Rafael Fiziev, he could end up on the wrong end of this. If he mixes it, if he does use his Division I wrestling, as you said, which is ridiculous that he doesn't use it, and does go, as you say, balls to the wall, I think he could beat Fiziev quite comfortably in that realm. But if he stands up, my word, one, the fans will get a great fight, but two, I think Fiziev will be the victor.
Fiziev, no doubt, has a much wider variety of weapons that he brings into the octagon. And when you sit there, most of the time when I'm watching him, I'm watching either as a fan or as a reporter. I haven't really analyzed very many of his fights up until I was preparing for this video. And my goodness, when you sit there and really just focus on him and what he's doing and the combinations that he is putting together, it's art. I mean, the way that he is able to, lots of fighters, I'll say this, lots of fighters box with kicks. Not a lot of fighters are true fluid kickboxers where they can throw the kicks in anytime in the combination while they're switching stances, while they're finding an angle. They can throw straight shots or looping shots. Literally, this man is an encyclopedia of offense on the feet. It's just absolutely incredible to see. And a lot of power goes with it as well. The kicks are insane. On the flip side of that, you have Justin Gaethje, who has some of the best kicks in the division. And that's one thing I'm dying to see is whether this turns into a battle of the kicks. Because we remember that with Edson Barboza. I mean, Justin Gaethje did his job in that fight. Absolutely. And I think the one thing I will say about that in Gaethje's favor, I don't know that anyone has ever been willing to fight Fiziev the way that I expect Gaethje to fight Fiziev, because I've never seen a fighter with less regard for his own personal health than Justin Gaethje. And I'm not saying that that's the wisest way to approach this fight, but it could be something that Fiziev is not always used to. Although he's not a guy like, there are certain guys that have to be on the outside and they have to have lots of space and lots of time to set up their combinations. Fiziev is not quite like that. He can get in the fire and mix it up, but he likes to keep it technical. And not a lot of guys he's faced before have just made it a messy, grimy, disgusting fight. And even if Justin's not looking for double legs and single legs, I can see him trying to grind Fiziev against the fence and hold him there, maybe a little bit like RDA did.
Yeah, juggernaut style. I think, that's a really good point that you bring out, that actually, because when I think of great Fiziev fights, I think of the Riddell fight. That was just fantastic, the way that played out. Obviously, two elite kickboxers, boys that have obviously taught the very, very highest level at Tiger Muay Thai. And that fight was technical, very technical, wasn't it, between the pair of them, until Fiziev gets the job done in that final round with a sensational knockout victory. But you're right, maybe the juggernaut style is what is required to consistently keep that pressure on, to keep him coming forward. To go forward and make him go backwards, up against the fence, get your hands on him with some clinches, get some dirty elbows in there, just make it horrible. And I think, I think you're right. I think there's got to be some type of variety from Justin Gaethje. We know he's got a great chin. We know that he likes to have a fight. And your reference to his own personal safety is absolutely spot on. He has no regard for it whatsoever. He will throw. His kicking game is absolutely sensational. But I just do feel that over this period of time that this fight will play out, I think he will have to go to some type of grappling, some type of wrestling at some point, because Fiziev's just so accurate. He's just so, and it's the variety of things. What you'll find when you watch some fighters is that they have success with one combination. They think, oh, I'll do that combination again. And then they'll do it again. And then it'll get, because you're fighting an elite guy, the elite guy can see that. And you're not doing that. And then there'll be some type of, I don't know, a catch or something like that will end up being your downfall. Fiziev doesn't do it. He very rarely goes through the same patterns. He's just brilliant to watch. If you're a lover of striking like I am, I love watching someone like a Rafael Fiziev, because you nailed it at the start. It is art. It is poetry. He is painting on the canvas. And Justin Gaethje is going to be he's going to have to be at his very, very best to get the job done against him.
Yeah, when Fiziev is out there, he's using every color of the rainbow to paint that picture too. I mean, it's just. It's amazing to see what he's able to, the creativity with which he's able to, pull out in the middle of a combination, a flying knee or whatever. It's not, you can tell it's just sort of, he spent so long training, particularly in the striking arts, that it just sort of comes out of him naturally.
Natural.
Something
you
can tell he's not really thinking about it necessarily. I don't know. I'm interested to see, like you say, the pressure game, because Justin Gaethje, when he pressures, tends to do so very much forward. Fiziev, I will say, definitely has the advantage in terms of being able to strike backward. So I think it's going to be a matter of Justin Gaethje having to pressure like he's never pressured before. If he's going to start to use that clinch, if he's going to start to, at the very least, give the impression that he's going to level change and mix that into his combinations. Because even just the threat, even if he has in the back of his mind, he has no plans to actually shoot a double leg or whatever, if he can just start to show it, Fiziev is going to have to respect that, because everybody knows the pedigree that Justin Gaethje has. So I think, as you say, mixing his arts is going to be critical for Justin Gaethje.
It's an interesting one for Trevor Whitman, who's in Justin Gaethje's corner, and obviously in Kamaru Usman's corner in the main event. I personally think the camp for the pair of them is really simple.
Yeah.
Wrestle. That's all. That's where I think it should have gone. But let's be honest, as soon as that cage door shuts, when does Justin Gaethje listen, man? He isn't one of those type of guys. He's just going to go, come on, the crowd's going wild. Let's have some fun and let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been cool to see the evolution of his striking, particularly into that Tony Ferguson fight. That was, I think, a real pivotal moment to start showing, because before it was almost too little regard for his own personal safety. He still has very little, but before then it was getting him in trouble against Poirier and against I'm blanking on who it was. I can picture him. I hate when this happens.
Pettis? No,
he went over to ONE FC. Dang it. Lost to Connor. Oh my God. Keep this in the
Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. Thank you. I could picture him. It got him in trouble against both of those guys. Those are fights where he paid for his willingness to just stand right in that fire. And then when you saw him in the Tony Ferguson fight, there was much more sophistication to what he was willing to do and the way he was willing to move at that very close boxing range in the pocket. One of the things I always love when I watch Justin operate in that distance is he's one of the very few fighters who can kick consistently and comfortably and powerfully, whether he's at boxing range or whether he's at true kicking range. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I don't know if it's a hip dexterity thing or what, but I've never seen someone be able to chop the legs of their opponent at such a close range the way that Justin does. Or he'll sort of do that thing where he steps and soccer kicks right across his legs. But I don't know. I have a hard time deciding which way I think this fight is going to go. But lucky for me, I'm not forced to make predictions on my channel. You're welcome to make one if you like, but they let me off the hook on this.
Well, I will commit, because I have no doubt that by the time I get to maybe a week from now, I'll change my mind, because this is the beauty of the UFC. It's not like in the game of boxing where somebody gets a little bit of a layup and a homecoming fight or whatever it may be. These are 50-50 proper contests. There's some serious jeopardy on this fight because they're all looking at the top of the tree now with the champion. They're all going to want to have their shot at this belt. There's a lot of runners and riders. Benil, you would think it would be kind of next in line. Obviously, the former champion Charles is looking at that as well. He wants a piece of it. And we've also got Mr. Volkanovski thinking, hang on a minute, I should be the guy. So I want my shot as well. So there's a lot to play for here. And it's all going to come down to performances. You've got to it's okay winning, but you've got to win now, I think, in style in order to really make that punch forward to get your shot at UFC gold. I currently think, because I don't think Justin is in any way, shape or form going to wrestle, I just think Rafael might get this done. And he might even get this done with a late stoppage just because of how technically good he is. But if Justin mixes it, blends it, grapples, as you've said, pushes him back on the cage, makes it dirty, makes it horrible, and at some point goes for some type of takedown, I can see Justin winning that way on points over a 15-minute period. But that's the beauty of the fight. That is the beauty of the fight, that we're here and I'm having conversations in my own head going, I
know.
I can see this guy winning and I can see this guy winning this way. It's so good. It's such a great matchup.
Well, that's what makes you a good analyst too, is you're able to see both sides of the coin and play devil's advocate to whatever point you just made before. And I feel the exact same way. I'm glad I don't have to make a prediction, because I genuinely don't. I genuinely don't have one at this point, but I do think
it's hard.
It is hard. I think for Justin Gaethje, this is a pretty important one for him to reestablish that he is still that guy in that top 5-6 of the lightweight division that just continue to sort of stay there and be there. The Chandlers, the Poiriers, now the Islams, of course, and we've got Benil coming up, as you mentioned, and then for Fiziev, just to announce himself, right? This is by far, to beat RDA, huge, a legend of the game, but this would be really announcing himself against a guy who has been swimming at the deepest end of this division. If he's able to get past Justin Gaethje, you're there to play with any of those guys, and they know it.
This division is ridiculous.
It is.
If you like, you could go down as far as 10, maybe down to 15, and you could throw anybody's name into any of these mixes, and you think to yourself, oh my days, man, There's some serious talent coming through. Okay, maybe it doesn't have the experience of some of the guys at the top end, and that's what's keeping these guys at the top end. That experience, they've been there, the hard won, they've been through some tough fights, they've won some, they've lost some, and that's why they're managing to keep those top 5 rankings. I mean, look at Charles for a story, for example. That story is ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Charles Oliveira. Jeez,
he had some horrible losses early doors. Yes, okay, it was in the division below, but when he came to 155, he went on this run. He had some tough fights, and now he's found himself in the situation that he's found him in. But this is the same, I think, for everybody in that division. It is so super competitive, such a tough division to call. But you're right in what you're saying about Justin Gaethje. He has to win this, otherwise, with the fans, he might become the forgotten man, and Rafael Fiziev will take his position, and that changing the guard might just happen.
Yep. We shall see, and we shall see pretty soon. UFC 286 coming down the pipe at us very soon. And Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to join me to chop up these fights. I want to do this again with you sometime. Is that okay?
Absolutely. In person next time. Come on.
Of course, it's okay, because I asked you on camera. There's no other. Can you imagine if you're like, nope, never doing it again? Nope.
Absolutely, as long as there's sunshine involved next time and it's in person.
100%. I would love that. Absolutely. Maybe back on Fight Island. That was a fun time.
Oh, now you're talking. Now you're talking, Sanko. That's how we're rolling.
We got to make another music video. That was a blast. That was great. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Keep it right here for more breakdowns, previews, demonstrations coming your way on one-on-one. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate you.